following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
First down. Handoff. Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
Here are Mickey Spagnola, Brian Broaddus, Rob Phillips, and Bill Jones.
And it is a Tuesday edition of Talking Cowboys as we move past the Packers and move on to the New York Jets. Do we call it the New York Football Jets?
No.
I don't think so.
Nope.
Okay, we're going to call them the New York Jets.
That's the Jets.
People get upset when I call them the New York Football Giants, too. So it's the New York Jets this week. And how do we get past Green Bay? We're going to talk about it here on this Tuesday edition. Bill Jones, Mickey Spagnola, Rob Phillips, Brian Broaddus. I listened to yesterday's show this morning, so I know what you've covered.
Did we pass?
You did. You passed with flying colors. You didn't need me at all.
It's a lot to cover in 45 minutes.
That's right. So
that
we
was
got
a wild one.
So we got more to cover today. You'll notice my voice is.
Yes.
I got big time radio voice. I listened to Barry White on the way in.
You've been smoking? A couple packs?
Or drinking whiskey? What
Sound like both really good ideas.
Yeah, right after the game.
The whiskey might help
the game
you.
on Sunday. No, it actually hit me on Saturday afternoon watching college football. I was at our house.
Cheering when they scored like a half 100 or what?
No, it had nothing to do with opening my mouth. I was sentenced to the patio. My wife's a Texas Tech alum. I'm an OU grad, and so she got the TV in the living room, and I was sentenced to the TV on the patio. And by the end of the game, I had a sore throat. Yeah. So here I am. All right. I could sing a Barry White song for you if you'd like. No,
you could.
Maybe third segment.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that.
Let's consider
right after Mickey's read.
It's been a while since I've listened to Barry White. He was really good this morning on the drive-in.
Some of us wish we could be sentenced to the patio.
Okay, that sounds like a personal problem. All right. Rob, did you draw the Jerry Jones radio assignment this morning?
A little bit. I didn't catch all of it. I caught the highlights of 20 minutes on the Fan today. Covered a lot of ground.
Did he save you some money? Not going to Vegas and betting on.
I don't gamble, Mickey.
Betting on.
And I don't gamble on the Cowboys.
Jason being the next coach to be fired.
He's not going to get fired in the regular season, right?
I think Jerry's quote was something along the lines of, "If you bet money, you'll lose on that front." Because what is he? Is he second on the list right now, or the next in line?
No, he was next in line according to Vegas.
He was after Gruden. After Gruden?
Yeah. No, after Gruden got fired, he was next. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that the start of the season?
Now.
Because of what happened on Sunday.
The readdressed odds.
God. Hey man, there's people that love that stuff, that live for it. But
live for coaches getting fired?
Live for making prop bets and stuff like
prop
that.
Bets, yeah. But otherwise, there's no news coming out of Jerry Jones this morning.
It sounds like
the injury front.
Tyron Smith, he said, what was the term he said? They're optimistic.
Yeah.
Looking pretty good in his mind, but we'll see how the week of practice goes. Lyle Collins, he was a little more iffy about because it is an MCL and it could be a couple weeks. Jerry said both guys basically week to week, but he wouldn't count them out, either one of them, for this game.
Yeah, as of last night, they really hadn't talked about what they were going to do at right tackle. This morning, they were going to kind of get in a little bit more that maybe it was going to be Brandon Knight or Connor Williams. I think they're leaning towards playing Brandon Knight out there at right tackle. I think they like him better at right tackle than they do at left tackle. So, that's makes it maybe a little bit easier. Maybe some of the things that they were able to see in the game that he was able to, maybe with a full week, maybe a little bit more improvement, but he wasn't bad in where he was at last week in the game. So still a decision on what they need to do over there at that right side. But I think if it's no Collins, I think they're leaning towards, I'm making a prediction that they would go with Brandon Knight over there.
So it sounds like Tyron has a better chance of playing than Lyle Collins.
Right.
And he may not practice tomorrow. But as the week goes on, I think they're feeling better that he could play on Sunday. I think Lyle Collins misses this game.
Yeah, see now, in the way Mickey said, it's perfect because then it becomes a combination of, okay, who do you feel better about, Fleming? Because I was making the thought that maybe you don't have Smith this week, but if you do have Smith, then that puts Cam Fleming in play at the right tackle spot.
So if Smith does play, what do you think it would be between Fleming and Knight?
I bet you they then would go with Fleming.
Okay.
Is what they would do.
They go with the experience there, I think.
Yeah.
Although we talked about this yesterday, I think it was 28 snaps for Brandon Knight, and you think about how many times he was in pass pro too, because
the whole time
because they were behind.
Yeah,
I mean, did they how many carries did they have in that situation? So that's tough for a rookie. But he played
especially playing your first NFL game. But he did have his moments by the way.
He did, but which club are you
moments
on?
than the moments
looking at the coach's film.
Less moments than moments than the other. And
I mean, if they had a plus minus in the NFL, he was probably 24-3.
Yeah, it was. To me, I was. Maybe it's a little bit about what they thought about how Connor Williams looked at right tackle at practice, that they went with the putting Knight out there. They maybe said, hey, maybe we need to just keep everything. I know that they were worried about. Mickey, correct me if I'm wrong. If I was in the walk-off, I think I was in that part where he said he just didn't want to move Williams from left guard to the right side. Am I right about that?
Yeah, I think it sounded that way. Yes,
it was more about. Letting
within the game.
Within the game,
but we always talk about best five, and if you put him at the right tackle
maybe
spot.
I need to shut up about best five. Maybe I need to. I always feel like you need to play your best five, but maybe they don't feel that way.
That's my point, though, is that, Su'a-Filo, putting him in there, is that better than a rookie, who's never played a game in the NFL before? But again,
I would have thought they would have moved Connor Williams, but I was completely wrong about that.
But what you're getting at is moving him. It was more a matter of Connor Williams moving from the left side to the right side himself, rather than potentially weakening two positions.
Probably didn't want him to have to think about, okay, I've been running left side plays, or in my mind I'm thinking left guard. Now I have to think about right tackle here, and and all that, and especially as much as they were throwing the ball.
Oh, maybe not bring Su'a-Filo in so he could false start on the field goal that was good.
Yeah.
Well, if they brought him in earlier, maybe he would have
been ready to go.
That's right.
God.
It's again, nobody feels sorry for you. You got to figure this thing out. You got to go to New York, and some of the assets that they have. I mean, we'll get into what they have, but some of their better players. I mean, I know it hasn't been that way for the record stuff, but if you do watch some of their better players, they're along the defensive line. They just haven't played well enough offensively to give their defense any kind of a chance.
Yeah, the Jets are not feeling sorry for you when your quarterback goes down with mono after one game.
And your backup breaks his ankle.
Yeah, Cleveland. And that's, exactly. So it's just a tough league, and it's tough now. They've got to find a way, and nobody's going to give them credit for going here and beating the Jets. That's going to be get ready for that too. You should beat the Jets. You should be 4-2.
Oh, it's already in the headlines. The test is going to be the Eagles in 2 weeks. That's what the narrative is.
Everybody's talking. Everybody's talking about. Well, get these guys healthy for the Philadelphia game. That matters. I mean, I'm not saying that the Jets are going to win this game, but if you don't stop the run, they got Le'Veon Bell and they haven't blocked. And Mickey's going to tell me he hadn't got over 200 yards, and Mickey's not wrong about that.
206, I think.
Yeah, 206. But
that's his total.
Yeah, but you're looking at a situation though, where you kind of felt like Green Bay doesn't run the football either.
86 yards a game before this last one.
Yeah. You can't sit there and think you're going to roll out your hat and everything is going to just be fine. They've got to figure some things out here, because they go out there and they let Le'Veon Bell. He caught 10 balls against the Browns. 10 targets, 10 catches the other day. Those are the kinds of things. Those are the things that scare me going into a game, that all of a sudden, they figure out how to run the football. And, by the way, they're throwing the ball to Le'Veon Bell. Trust me, Le'Veon Bell is a better player than Aaron Jones.
Yeah, and you get him out in space.
And you
create
can't tackle.
A bigger problem, because they had a problem tacking Aaron Jones in space. He caught 7 passes for 75 yards.
Yeah.
That was the leading receiver in the game.
I mean, some of it is just getting rid of the ball because they can't pass protect, or they sure didn't last week. But he is their leading receiver. He's the only guy in their team with a receiving touchdown through 5 games. 1.
See, and I'm not trying to blowing smoke up everybody's room. No, I'm with you.
He's been their offense.
You've got some things you need to figure out defensively. You played well against the Saints, and then you turn around and let the Packers just out physical you at the line of scrimmage, and they're running the ball and they're kicking it. They're getting it for about almost 6 yards a shot. I'm just telling you, though, you better not feel like, let's just get ready for Philadelphia.
I hear what you're saying. He's one of the top backs in the league. Yeah. Now, he played on a better team most of his career.
His team does no favors for him. His offensive line does no favors for him. The fact that they didn't have a quarterback worth a damn did him no favors, too.
We've got breaking news out of New York. Sam Darnold is starting at quarterback for the New York Jets this week.
Yeah.
Glad to know his spleen's the right size.
Yeah.
Yep. Sam Darnold, who went out after he started the first game against Buffalo, and then he was diagnosed with mononucleosis and has missed the last 3 games. They had a bye week mixed in there, too, so he's been out a month.
But he practiced all last week.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant decision, too, by the way.
Well, they didn't have anybody fall into him, hopefully.
No, but I mean, he practiced all week.
You think he should have played against the Eagles and got sacked 10 times?
He didn't pass the test.
Okay.
And they didn't give the backup, Falk, any snaps.
I got you.
It's not the best
And then
recipe.
he had to start.
I got you.
And Orlando Scandrick.
So he took the first team reps last week.
Yeah.
Okay.
For Philly. Yeah.
All right. Wow. And
again, boy, is he getting roasted because they don't like roasting people up there
in New York.
Yeah.
Adam Gase is.
Oh.
Imagine that.
They're ready to fire him. 4 games in.
So he's
but Garrett's ahead of him on the list.
Yes. Probably because he's a first-year head coach there.
Garrett's out of a contract though, unless they extend him. So it might not be a firing; it might be just parting of the ways.
Yep.
No, that was for mid-season, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And since we brought up the Jay Gruden, what's your take on what's happened in Washington with the Redskins?
How many coaches have they had since 1999?
7.
I mean,
and Gruden was there the longest.
Yeah.
This was his 5th year.
5th season.
I think at some point you got to look at what type of talent do you have on the field. Now, they haven't been. Have they been in the playoffs under Gruden? Did they do that
yes,
Twice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It felt like it's time to make a change, but they've had quarterback issues. They didn't have their quarterback this year.
Yeah, running game Moses will do whatever
didn't have
Bruce
their
Allen
left
tells
tackle
him.
this year. Didn't have their tight end this year.
Oh yeah, running game Moses is the interim coach.
Yeah.
Bill Callahan is the interim coach.
Yeah. To me, Washington is that's amazing. A once proud franchise. When you go back through the years and look at that with how they've operated, and then that owner takes over the team, and it's been nothing but going to the ground since. They change coaches, they change general managers. They've got a president of their team. It's a politician. He's always going to do things to survive. Bruce Allen is not a football man. He doesn't know if it's pumped up or stuffed. His dad might have been George Allen, but he might as well have been adopted. The way he knows nothing about football. So to me, they got what they deserved. If that's what you're going to hitch your wagon to, then you get what you deserve. You go out, you get people that know what they're doing. Again, they had a guy there, Scott McCloughan. Mm-hmm. Scott has a drinking problem, no question, well documented. But you know what? Scott's a guy I could give him a case of beer and he could tell me what 10 players could play. I know that sounds terrible with a guy that has a drinking problem, but that was not a problem with Scott McCloughan. Was not the problem with the Washington Redskins. Jay Gruden needed a guy like Scott McCloughan there, so they get what they deserve by having Bruce Allen running that football team.
And you look at them, they were what? They were around 5. They were the playoff team in 2015. They lost in the wild card round. Went 9-7 that year, 8-7-1 the year after, then 7-9, 7-9, and now 0-5 this year.
Well, they'll tell you what happened when Smith went down with injury. They were 6-3 or 5-3 or something like that.
It's part of the deal.
Part of the deal. Again, nobody feels sorry for you in this league.
Got to have a quarterback.
You sure do. You sure do.
Yes,
you do. They
do.
drafted one in the first round who's not ready to play, and I don't think the owner agrees with that. But Bill Callahan said he's not starting.
Yeah.
Well, we might see him by the time Cowboys roll around, face him again. You never know.
Which is like the last game of the year.
I mean, very well might see Haskins then. Yeah.
I think you have to play these young quarterbacks nowadays. I really do. And, maybe you don't have enough help on the offensive line. Maybe the Trent Williams holdout has hurt them.
Yeah.
Maybe they're not good enough defensively. But I think you have to figure out how to play. I applaud the New York Giants for what they did. I know we're kind of talking about the Redskins a little bit, but I applaud what they did. Go ahead and start the journey now. Go ahead. Learn about this guy. Learn how you build around him, Anytime
And
you
he's
play,
already shown stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
But what if the head coach doesn't think the guy's ready, and if you put him in there, you're going to ruin him?
Yeah, well, that's why he's got the interim tag. I'm going to go find a guy that can help my quarterback.
I don't think the head coach wanted the guy to begin with.
Yeah, you're right.
So,
if he didn't want him, then probably running game Moses didn't want him either.
yeah.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Yep.
You like that nickname?
I do like that.
I forgot about that. That was there before I came back.
All right, we're going to continue with more of Talking Cowboys in just a moment.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not to...
Right above the subway!
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor, Angus!
A deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's Best Network. Come into an AT&T store and learn how to buy one smartphone and get a second one on us. Based on GWS One score, September 2018.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with sideline access and photo ops with current players, alumni, and cheerleaders. That's not all, though. You'll get to talk X's and O's with Senior Director of Player Personnel Will McClay, and of course with yours truly, me, Brian Broaddus. You can trust the official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and with us, you'll travel like a pro. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Work the Cowboys way and channel the winning business tradition of the Dallas Cowboys and the Jones family at Formation. This dynamic workspace provides an elevated work experience on the Star's aspirational campus with exclusive membership options available to meet varying needs. Choose from open workspaces, dedicated desks, and private offices to leverage our home field advantage for your individual business success. Limited memberships are available now, so apply today at formation@thestar.com.
A man's Stetson doesn't just protect him from life's elements. It projects an unstoppable and legendary spirit, just like the men wearing silver and navy on the field every Sunday. Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. They are still the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Find Stetson hats in the Pro Shop or at Stetson.com today.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
And we are back to Talking Cowboys. As I find my read here. What'd you do with the read? What'd you do with the read, Rob Phillips? There you go. It's a Tuesday, isn't it?
Right there.
Don't miss your chance to see the Cowboys live at AT&T Stadium when they return home on Sunday, October 20th. Sunday Night Football to take on the Philadelphia Eagles. Get your tickets now at DallasCowboys.com. That will be here before you know it. And the Cowboys will be 4-2 going into that matchup against the Eagles. I'm already making my prediction this week.
What if they're 3-3, Bill? What are you going to do?
Oh, man.
He's going to jump off the roof with everybody else.
Then those odds are going to improve.
Yeah, no, he can't go higher on the list, I guess.
Guess not.
Wow. That would be something. But again, Sam Darnold is starting at quarterback for the Jets, so they got a shot this week against the Cowboys. Mickey, what's been real nice look around the room here.
Yeah,
you've got your LSU vest on. I've got a pullover on. You got long sleeves on.
Yes.
It's football weather finally here in North Texas. And Mickey, you got a pullover on. What does that say on it?
It's got the shield.
The shield on it.
NFL.
Is there any particular reason that you wore the shield today?
One of those officiating shirts that they sold at the clinic. Yeah. And I saw some more mistakes they made. How do they make stuff up? That's all I want to know. You can see if the tight end has his hand on the ground before the guy goes in motion, and his hand's on the ground before the guy goes in motion, and you throw a flag. And I think it took out a Zeke, 20-yard run or something. It was a big run.
And so what you're getting at is on, I believe it was the first series of the game, Dalton Schultz was called for not getting in his three-point stance early enough because it was Blake Jarwin went in motion. It was an illegal shift call against the Cowboys. Second series of the game. At the time, I was watching from home, so I had the ability to go back and review it as the call was made. And I tweeted, I don't know what the official was looking at there because Dalton Schultz was down in his three-point stance when Jarwin went in motion.
So how do they do that? What do they see? And are they watching?
Cooper wiped it out with a 46-yard gain 2 plays later.
Yeah, so it became a moot point,
yeah,
right?
But that 46 yards would have been 5 yards further down the field.
The point was it was a precursor to things to come later in the game. And by the way, since I wasn't here yesterday, the most egregious mistake they made was on the Michael Gallup getting mugged by Kevin King on that interception. That is unbelievable. I mean, they could have
told you they weren't going to call it.
They could have called pass interference. They could have called holding. They could have called hands to the face on that play. It was unbelievable.
Or illegal contact.
And really, on the TV copy, you can't tell. And that's what I guess it was Pereira who was doing the game.
Yeah.
He said, that should have been a call.
Yeah.
Okay. But even on that, you couldn't tell for sure whether he was 5 yards downfield yet or not. On the side angle, the contact didn't even start until he was 5 yards downfield.
You know, we got a mailbag question this morning. We didn't use it, but it was from a gentleman, I think Ted in the UK. And he brought up a good point. Like, should they have it where you have to get both your challenges right to get a third one back? Is that fair? And he said in cricket, they don't their challenge system isn't that way. And because what happened was there was a clear mistake. Garrett had to throw the flag to get him to fix it on the Cooper catch. And then now you're that's a critical challenge that he would have won on the Gallup thing. Right there.
And why that was critical, obviously, King intercepts the ball. They're in field goal range. They didn't even have to get a first down to kick a field goal. And now
and I don't think they did.
The Packers have a 17-point lead. And then when you come down to the end of the game, you're not, you're throwing for the end zone in a tie game there on the last possession of the game.
And was Jerry was asked about the new rules, right? New PI rules this morning.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead.
I'm not sure he's in favor of them because he thinks it opened up a bigger can of worms now because everybody can see what's going on and it's not getting corrected. So if the people implementing the system don't do it right, then the system's no good. And that's what happened to, and I've said this before with instant replay when it first started. Tex Schramm was for it. He was for all of it. And then when they implemented it, the guys up in the booth wouldn't do their job. And Tex's point was there's nothing wrong with the system. It's the people running the system that's screwing it up. And we're back in the same boat right now.
And the other, I think Jason may have mentioned this maybe in his post game or something or alluded to it anyway. When you on certain calls, it magnifies the contact when you break it down frame by frame on a replay, like on the Anthony Brown interference play. It's a bang-bang play. And when you look at any of them, and we've seen it countless times already this season, when coaches have challenged on pass interference, there is contact there that's being made, and they're not overturning it.
Well,
and the reason, and I probably agree with a lot of those when they don't overturn them because it's just incidental contact. It happens. It gets magnified so much when you slow it down frame by frame. It's like in baseball when a base runner is sliding past second base, and then you slow it down on replay. It's a big pet peeve of mine in baseball where his index finger came 1 inch off the bag for a split second, but he beat the throw. He's safe, but they call him out anyway.
Brian wrote about this, though. I said it in the press box at the time. That one, though, if you're not even trying to look for the ball, you don't turn your head at all, they're going to call it at every level. You see it all the time.
It's not a foul in the NFL. Face guarding is not a foul in the NFL, and Pereira pointed it out. So if you hit me in the back while I'm chasing you, is that my fault?
He ran into the guy catching the ball or trying to catch the ball.
Well, after the ball hit him.
Bumped him, and it was close. But
the guy had to stop to get the ball.
Well, that's not my fault.
It's part of the game, Mickey.
Well, and then they had to fix that part of the game.
Well, they won't. We've argued about this before.
And
that's the other part of it.
Every one of these plays happened on the same side of the field with the same guy.
Scott Edwards, the side judge.
Every play.
From Blanco, Texas, by the way.
He's got some rabbit ears, old Scott.
By the way, on the talking about Chris Richard yesterday, piecing together the video on that, it looks like I think for sure that Edwards was reacting when he threw his flag. He reacted immediately after Garrett threw the challenge flag down.
No. The flag was on the ground. And they kept going at it. And then when he was walking towards Garrett, he threw the flag. Jason was looking right at him and said something.
But on TV, they also showed a shot of Chris Richard coming out towards the field.
I thought Chris Richard said something.
It was Richard did say something.
Yeah, but that
it was
was
later.
after.
And
Chris Richard was reacting. I think Chris Richard was reacting to the flag having been thrown.
Guess who else they had to hold back?
What? Kellen Moore.
Kellen Moore.
Yeah. I love seeing that. That's the first time I've seen that kind of fire out of Kellen Moore.
He was hot.
The other thing on it with Garrett, and he gets criticized by so many people for his press conferences and robotic, statements and so forth. I wonder if showing some fire like that on the sideline, if that wins over some of the fans who...
I think they still have a problem with it.
I think
those fans.
You know what? The
if anyone's on the fence,
he cost his team 15 yards.
It comes down to winning games, like
it
Brian
does.
said, because All or Nothing came out a couple years ago, and you saw, if you watch that show, he's not the same guy.
Although not very many
up.
people are watching All or Nothing.
Well,
I
disagree with that.
Yeah.
You saw.
in the grand scheme of things. When you're talking the numbers that you get watching. Or casual fans who are watching on network television when they got ratings up in the 30s, the percentage of those people who are watching All or Nothing is so low. Now, people that listen to Talkin Cowboys, they're watching everything they can get their hands on as far as the Cowboys are concerned. I'm talking just casual fans.
Yeah, but they're viral clips of him dropping F-bombs and all that stuff. That you saw finally what he can really be like behind closed doors.
He gets criticized so much for being the clapper, though, on the sideline. And
it's wrong, but it's going to come down to whether you win games or not. That's when coaches build legacies and are loved or hated. That's the way it goes.
Well, I bet there's no clapping in practice this week.
No, they better buckle down. They've put themselves in a bad spot. You're down. You lose 2 NFC games, conference games that you're dealing with teams that are potentially playoff teams. Both teams, I think the Packers probably win the North, and the Saints will probably win the South.
It's going to be,
and so now you're in a bad spot because when you start thinking if you can get into the playoffs, now you're probably going to have to show up in one of those places. That might be the first 2 seeds of the, depending on what Seattle does. Seattle looks like a for real team.
How about San Francisco? They're unbeaten.
I don't know about that.
But the Rams, you think, can at least be in the mix by the end of this
Rams
thing?
have not looked the same as everybody thinks the Rams have looked.
You're right, but I still think they've got enough talent to be in the mix by the end of this thing.
So does this team.
That's my point.
And this team doesn't play well enough.
There's a lot of good teams in this mix. I'm trying to agree with you that there's a lot of good teams that they're going to have to
I'm not attacking you. I'm just saying.
No, I'm adding to your point. There's a lot of good teams in the mix here at the end that they've got to have to overcome. Yeah. And by losing 2 games in a row, they had a great opportunity to start out 4-1 or 5-0, and they're just not there.
Including in their own division.
Yeah, exactly.
Got an Eagles team coming up. Tickets still available for that on Sunday night.
You went back to them.
October 20th.
That's what I'm saying. That's a team that was struggling a little bit. And all of a sudden, you could have put some distance between yourself and them. And now you're back in the same boat. They go to Green Bay. They got to feel good about themselves. Hey, we beat Green Bay. Dallas got rolled by Green Bay. That's the problem you run into when you go out and you lose game. You lost to a team that didn't have Drew Brees. Think about that.
Yeah,
that's where now you start. The football gods don't always hand you gifts; they take things away from you at times. But the last couple of weeks, think about what's happened. The second best player in the Packers offense doesn't play. and you give up a huge running game to a team that can't run the ball. You know?
You needed 13 points to beat the Saints.
That's all you needed.
And you couldn't get it.
Couldn't get it done. Yeah.
By the way, Pat Kerwin had a good tweet this morning. Okay, week 5 is over. Last year at this moment, after week 5, the Colts were 1-4, finished 10-6. The Texans were 2-3, they finished 11-5. The Cowboys were 2-3, finished 10-6. The Eagles were 2-3, finished 9-7. The Seahawks were 2-3, they finished 10-6. All 5 of those teams made the playoffs.
You better figure out a way to get back.
You better keep getting better then.
Yeah, you better, because again, you can't go into these games and just give them away like that. You can't. You can't have turnovers. You can't have mistakes. The one thing that stopped me, and everybody's on this coach. But the coach isn't out there coaching penalties. He's not out there coaching turnovers. He's like trying to put him in position to make plays. And when the ball goes ripping down the middle of the field, you got to go catch it. Even though that guy had 11 or 12 catches, he's got to catch that football. You got to find a way to win these games. You got to find a way to, at the end of the day, okay, we're ahead of Green Bay. We're ahead of the Saints. We're ahead, you're going to have some games. All of a sudden, you start losing games in Minnesota, lose to Detroit, lose to Philadelphia. Okay, then you are what you are,
Defensively against the Saints, you got to figure out a way to get them off the field in the second half of that game where they
get
don't
a
control
turnover, get off the field, do something.
Yeah, get a third down stop to get off the field where they're not controlling the football for 19 minutes of the second half of that game.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, we continue. Take your phone calls at 888-855-2297 when Talking Cowboys continues in a moment.
It can be hard to find the right resource for learning about important financial matters. You search how to build savings, you end up reading about the one weird ingredient from supermarkets that can make you taller. That's why Bank of America built BetterMoneyHabits.com, a safe little corner of the internet for answering your financial questions. Full of simple videos and tips, Better Money Habits can show you how to make the most of your money without resorting to random searches that always seem to lead to unbelievable photos of childhood stars grown up. To learn more, visit BetterMoneyHabits.com.
It's time for Tailgating with the OtterBox boys.
The OtterBox that builds those crazy protective phone cases?
Yup, and now they're changing the side dish game with the OtterBox Trooper Soft Cooler. Lightweight, mobile, and leak-proof, Trooper is perfect for blitzing a crowded parking lot with a Frito pie.
Amazing. Hey, you think I could fit my 7-layer salmon salad into the Trooper cooler?
Yup, but please don't.
And that's been Tailgating with the OtterBox boys. Learn more about the Trooper Soft Coolers at OtterBox.com.
While a player could look good on paper, it's when he's out on the field that you really find out what he's made of. That's why the Cowboys rely on more than just stats and scouting reports when building their team. When picking a tractor, it's why you should rely on more than just specs and features. You've got to take it out and put it to the test. The Cowboys did when they named John Deere their official tractor. Experience one for yourself. Visit myjohndeeredealer.com/football.
Dr. Pepper is the one you crave. But how do you explain that craving?
Imagine a surging river of ice-cold Dr. Pepper, roaring with carbonated mists of desire. You're dangling above it, upside down, like a fishing lure in the wind. 23 flavors tickle your nose, but the river is too far away to taste. Dr. Pepper calls to you. You.
Now that is a Dr. Pepper craving. Dr. Pepper, the one you crave.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
It is Turn Back the Time Like a Pro deadline on Jack Black, 11:59 p.m. today for your free age-defying pros with your $75 purchase. You get Protein Booster Skin Serum and Dry Erase Ultra Calming Face Cream. Use the code PRO on jackblack.com.
You enjoy this, don't you?
Yes.
I knew you did. Nobody enjoys reads more than Mickey, especially when they're words that nobody even wants to try and pronounce.
They're tongue twisters.
Yeah.
They're what?
Tongue twister.
Tongue twister.
You almost
Well, you
missed
can
that one.
talk to
Tongue
Mickey.
twisters.
Go talk to Mickey for sure.
Oh,
We love
what
you,
I
Nick.
like about that is too, if you're watching us, when Mickey does his read, then the camera will switch to Brian's reaction to the read.
Yeah, because they're already laughing before I even screw up.
It just, you can kind of feel where the thing is going to go a little off the
Right, like where the current is with the boat in the harbor.
Yeah, all of a sudden the big wave comes over and carries it off the side.
Oh, that's funny. All right, the last few minutes here of Talking Cowboys as we will turn our attention to these New York Jets. Who are the big guys that concern you on that Jets defensive front?
Yeah, well, I think that it's a front they've used some first round picks, they've used some trades, they've signed some guys, some unrestricted guys. You have to worry about Leonard Williams, and he plays as their left defensive end. He's number 92, and super active guy. He's drafted in the same draft as Byron Jones, and if you look at those in that particular draft, those first round of that draft, Leonard Williams and Byron Jones have made the most starts of anybody in that first round of that draft.
Interesting.
So yeah,
Williams was like the fourth pick or something. He was way up there.
Byron Jones and him, when you look at what they've meant to their team and how they've been able to, you talk about picks and their ability to play. But Leonard Williams is a fine one right there. Steve McClendon is they got an unrestricted guy from the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's going to play as nose, and I keep an eye on him only because of some of the issues that we've seen with Travis Frederick. 2 weeks ago, mainly against the Saints. See, it'll be a really good test for Travis after that. Depending on what happens at right tackle, let's see what's going on there with Harry Anderson, who they got in a trade from the Colts. They've got some guys that kind of are. Have that ability to rush, to play the run. They just haven't done a good enough job of it. They haven't had enough consistency with their pass rush. Greg Williams is a real big blitzer.
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to get a lot of twist stunt up front is what you're going to get. And so I would be a little concerned about if you don't feel like you can pick up the twist stunt very well, if you've got different pieces in there at, say, left tackle, at right tackle, then that's something that I would be a little bit more concerned about in this game. He's going to have to bring blitz pressure to get pressure because he can't just sit there and rush these guys. He's got to find a way to create opportunity for his guys to get home.
Now, isn't Anderson the guy that's been hurt? They're hoping he's back this week.
Yeah, he's been playing. I was watching him in the early games. They also got Quintin Williams, too.
From Alabama.
Or maybe one of those two guys has been out.
Anderson has been out. He had 4 snaps all this week, but he had played earlier.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
But Quintin Williams, who was the third pick in the draft, he was a monster at Alabama,
absolutely.
rushing the
That's
quarterback.
what I'm saying. They've used some first-round picks to get some guys. Like I say, I feel like that. They need to get Quintin Williams out there more because I feel like he is just really he could be very disruptive. He's had moments where he hasn't looked great, but then all of a sudden, he plays 4 or 5 plays in a row, and he's like, okay, now that's the Quintin Williams I understand from Alabama. That's we'll see. We'll see how it plays. I love Jamal Adams, not because he's an LSU guy, but I love Jamal Adams because I think he's the strong safety or free safety, but he can cover, if you watch him play, he can cover your back, he can cover your tight end. He plays all over the field. You could tell that teams don't go his direction when they throw the football or run the football for that matter because he's such a physical player. He creates opportunities for them. Tremaine Johnson is a cornerback of the 2 cornerbacks they have, him, Darryl Roberts. I would say that Tremaine Johnson, who they got from the Rams, is probably the better of the 2. So let's see if the Cowboys will go away from him. It seems like the way that Amari Cooper played last week against Alexander doesn't really matter. The week before he had problems, but man, I thought Alexander was just as good a cornerback as what Lattimore was, and then he got lit up last week. So maybe it won't matter as far as whoever Cooper's running routes against. But it's a defense, like I said, that's got some first round guys, some young guys that are trying to find their way right now. With the exception, say, of Leonard Williams, he's an older guy, but still a really, really good player for them.
Do they move him around at all, Leonard Williams?
Yeah, they do.
Because he's listed at left defensive end. I went back and watched the first game, Buffalo game, just to get a feel for Darnold on offense. And his pressure off the right edge got them a pick six against Buffalo. And when you think about how much trouble they've had manufacturing offense, I mean, and the Cowboys turning the ball over, that's something they've just got to be mindful of him. I circled him first, big time rusher for them.
Absolutely. Well, their defense in yards, it's 13th, so it's average. They haven't been bad. They've just been horrible on offense.
Yeah.
They're 32nd in like 12 of 19 offensive categories.
A lot has to do with the quarterback play for sure.
Yeah.
You watch, they give up, like we saw the other day, they give up sacks, they give up pressure. When they were throwing the film, it was like watching when Brad Johnson used to play. You know how the ball goes sideways all the time? It goes to the flat, it goes to the flat, it goes underneath, it goes to the flat. Checkdowns. That's, they try and throw screens. They try and, they've got a couple of players. They know they've got Jamison Crowder on their offense. Jamison Crowder has kind of been a pain in the rear for the Cowboys over the years, his ability. And then the Braxton Berrios, who they got on waivers from the New England Patriots, he's number 10. Kid has the ability to make some catches down. He's kind of a slot player underneath and stuff. Demarius Thomas really, hasn't really done much.
It's first time that he did anything was against Philadelphia this past Sunday.
That's really all he's done. So
and Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, Robbie Anderson. I mean, he can make some plays down the field, but they just don't throw the ball well enough, and they don't get protection, and they don't run the ball well enough because they don't block anybody up front. Yeah. They struggle with that.
They got nothing at tight end.
Yeah, and they keep the tight ends in because they try and help the pass protection, and it doesn't always work.
Can the Cowboys get off to a better start? Because Brian mentioned earlier, they're moving the ball with chunks of yardage, but they're getting outscored overall this season. I think in the last 4 games in the first quarter, I saw this stat, I think from the CBS broadcast with the Jets last week. They've gone 28 games straight without an opening drive touchdown.
Yeah.
They have not been able to manufacture points. Maybe Darnold helps. You watch him, he's really elusive. He can make throws. He can improvise, a little like Rodgers, not Aaron Rodgers. But yeah, Cowboys need to just finish these drives because we can talk about slow starts, but they're putting themselves in position to do that. Turnovers just killing them right now.
They've only scored 39 points in 4 games. That's not even 10 points a game, right?
Yeah.
They have not led since the opener against Buffalo.
Yeah,
which was that was the only close game they played.
I think some of those 39 points were either returns or defensive points, maybe.
Yeah.
They had a pick six against Buffalo.
Jamal Adams had one.
I saw something. Somebody wrote that they had 17 points in 16 quarters on offense.
Yeah. A lot of it has to do with, again, the quarterback. They just have not been able to figure that out.
Did Simeon get hurt preseason?
No, against the
was it the
Cleveland Bears?
The Bears?
The Browns.
Against the Browns. He broke his ankle.
Broke his ankle in that game.
Was that the opener?
Second
game because he already had mono by then.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. And up front on their offensive line, they're starting a third-round rookie at tackle, and 2 of their interior guys, Ryan Khalil and Alex Lewis, were signed in August.
Right.
They weren't even with the team during the offseason. And they got Kelvin Beachum out of SMU in Mahia, Texas.
Yeah, he's going to have some problems in this game. Kelvin Beachum.
I assume he's at left tackle?
He's at left tackle, yeah. He's going to have some problems in this. And, when you watch him, Robert Quinn will be able to attack him pretty well in this football game. Now, again, we'll see if the Jets will take their 2 tight ends. They'll get in 12 personnel, and they'll put those guys over there. And so they're going to make these guys have to rush wide. Last week we saw that the Packers brought wide receivers in like the Rams did, and to help with blocking. So teams can maybe say, okay, maybe we can line some guys up in tight formations, and that's kind of their way of doubling both those guys.
They can double them. That means those guys in the middle have to do something.
Which we have
not
to
seen
see them.
yet.
Last week they weren't very good. We'll see if they do something better this week.
We're going to see a lot of dump offs to Le'Veon.
Probably will.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, that does it for Talking Cowboys for this Tuesday, and we will talk at you again tomorrow.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?